And that's something that Pete Carroll defenses do, is create turnovers. You look at historically what Pete Carroll defenses have done, college, pro, it doesn't matter. It's create fumbles, create turnovers, get interceptions, see ball, get ball. What's going on in football right now? I got a couple questions for you about the 49ers and
yeah. Okay, myself, so I mean, first off, Juwan Jennings, he wants either a raise or a trade. And basically what's happening here is he sees an opportunity to get a little more money, so he's trying to get a little more money. And I don't blame him for doing it, because Brandon Ayuk is on the PUP. And surprisingly, Ricky Pearsall is on the PUP as well. So that one surprised me a little bit. I didn't expect him to be on the PUP to start training camp. So Juwan Jennings is crucial, especially to start the year. So he's not going anywhere. A couple of teams have asked. The Niners are like, no, get the hell out of here. We're not trading him. So he's gonna be with the team. They're gonna probably they're gonna figure something out. I'm certain of it. That being said, figure it out fast, guys. You know you're gonna end up giving him a little bit more money. Just figure it out now. Damn it! I hate having to deal with this crap. You know. Damn. Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. So that
and he's been a guy that's been like really consistent and really durable, and you haven't had any issues. I feel like out of, you don't want to go just giving money away for whatever, but like I feel like he's one of the guys that's like he's earned a raise. And I know it's been relatively recent when he got his new deal, but I feel like he's earned it with all the injuries and consistency on his part and playing through things and being a wide receiver that blocks. He does all the things you ask him to do. Keep him in your program. He's good for the program. He's going to be good for Ricky Pearsall and these younger guys that are coming up. Pay that man his money.
Yeah. I'll splash the pot whenever I want.
Splash the pot.
Yeah,
if anybody can name that movie, get into the chat.
That's right. Oh man. Yeah. So, all right. Looking bigger picture, TJ Watt gets paid. He's the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Good on you, bud. It's kind of funny. I bet the Steelers just like when they drafted him, they were just like, sure, let's just get JJ's brother. Yeah, throw him on the roster. Sure, why not? That's a family name pick. Sure, why not? And turns out this could be a Hall of Famer type pick. So good on them and good on TJ for getting paid. So out of bed.
He reset the market twice as a defensive player, and here's the Dallas Cowboys on the outside like, ooh, now we got to pay Micah Parsons, because if TJ Watt got that and you're Micah Parsons and you're younger, like you're like, dude, I want that because I'm younger.
Yeah, match me.
So,
yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just now I know, the Raiders took care of Max Crosby, and like when they paid him, he was like the highest paid player for about 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah.
Now it's like the Raiders got a discount where I look at the
truly
it's like, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Discount.
Yeah. Basically the only way to get a discount is to do it early. That's really it.
Right.
Yeah.
And they did. So, and that kind of leads me into a couple of questions for you and myself. It's kind of the same question. What's your vibe going into the into now that spring training is right around the corner, or kind of started.
Training camp, not spring training.
Training camp is starting. You know what? I looked at your next note and had baseball in my mind.
Yeah.
Training camp is here. I know you got some contract stuff with the 49ers. I would think you guys have to look at yourselves as, contenders again. But what's your kind of state of the franchise this early? Way too early predictions or statements or anything that's of substance.
Here's the thing. The Niners have the easiest schedule preseason, looking at it just on paper. This is the easiest schedule that anybody's had in the history of ever. Okay. Like just looking at it on paper, because of the easy schedule and because of just like the top end talent that the Niners have. When you look at Christian McCaffrey, all the glowing reports about Christian McCaffrey's health, even after like just last year's, injury kerfuffle, whatever. And that wasn't just him. You look at, Brock's got a new contract. You got Bryce Huff lining up opposite Nick Bosa on the other side. Juwan Jennings, and if Pearsall's able to actually go for week 1, and then if they can hold it down, George Kittle's looking good. All of a sudden, I think I think that there's enough pieces there, especially with the easy, soft as Charmin schedule that the Niners have. There is no reason at all why like Las Vegas has like the Niners at they set the over under at 10.5 wins, and I'm taking the over. Okay. Like that's like I'm easily taking the over because I think the Niners get at least 12. Okay. That's where I'm at. Like I think if as long as the Niners can have anything resembling 2023 level of health, they can get to they can get to 12 wins, no problem. And that's truly where I see them. And then it becomes a question of where does 12 wins, 13 wins get you versus the rest of the NFC, not just the NFC West, but the NFC in general. I think 13 wins probably gets you the NFC West. 13 wins should get you the NFC West. 12 wins might get the job done. It depends what the Rams do. I think Seattle's taking a huge step back this year.
I agree.
I think Arizona maybe takes a step or two forward, but I think I think those two teams are kind of going to be even. So it just becomes a question of what's going on with the Rams. Where are the Rams at? I think the Rams probably are good. Like, I'm not going to make a prediction on whether they're a playoff team yet or not, but I think they probably do end up being one. So it just kind of depends on how that shakes out. I think that, like I said, if the Niners get 12 wins, that's probably a playoff team. Like that's probably a division winner. 13 wins is definitely a division winner. And then it just becomes a question of the Eagles in the East. Like, how many wins do they have? You look at the NFC South. I don't see. Like, the Buccaneers have been running the South for the last half a decade almost now at this point. I don't see, like, maybe Atlanta steps up a little bit, but I don't see them getting up to 13 wins, either of those teams. I think that's more of an 11 win-ish team on the outside for the Bucs. Atlanta maybe gets up to 9 wins, maybe 10 if Tampa falls off a little bit. Like, so I don't see them challenging for the number 1 seed. Maybe 13 wins is enough to get the job done. You look at the NFC North, it's the Lions, and then it's the Packers, the Vikings. That's a really tough division. Do those teams beat each other up enough that maybe the winner of that division only ends up with 12 wins or 13 wins because they were just beating each other up, and nobody gets up to 15 this year? I don't know. Right. So that's I I'd have to sit down and look at their schedules and just kind of work that out, see what actually, what do I think is the most realistic outcomes of that. So it's kind of tough. 13 wins, I don't know if that's enough to get the number 1 seed. 13 wins is definitely enough to, I think, win the division. And I think that's what the Niners have their sights set on, is they have a realistic shot at winning the division, if for no other reason than the top end talent and the softest Charmin schedule. So that's my expectation for the Niners. So let's spin it on you. When you look at the Raiders, what do you, going into minicamp, how are you feeling? I'll tell you right
really
now,
good, man. I'm feeling really good. I know you got to earn your respect, right? And for God knows how long, the Raiders have just been dead on arrival. And I'm not saying like right now they're going to go in and win the AFC West and become, a contender. There's always those stories of last to first and whatnot. I think it's way too early to say that that's what's going to happen, but I see quite a bit of improvement in, with not just the head coaching, it's the assistant coaches. They have a lot of new coaches, a lot of coaches from carryover. You had some good players on the roster. You took care of Max Crosby, so I know you lost some guys, but you had a hell of a draft. You had a really good draft. I think that's a consensus that most people would agree on, is that you had a really good draft and you got some young players that are probably going to come in and contribute. I think when you look at some of the stats from last year to this year, I don't think, they were 32nd in running the ball last year. I don't think they're going to be 32nd. So I
absolutely
think
not. No,
I don't think they're going to be 32nd. They were under 4 yards per carry. I think it was like 3 yards per carry per attempt. I don't think you're going to get, you're not getting that. So I think the running game, you're probably looking at a running game that on a statistic scale is going to go from 32 to, I'll say, top 15. If they end up
top half of the league, easy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, my excitement is if you just get an offense that can be top 15 and a defense that is not on the field all the freaking time, then your defense is naturally going to get better, because I do believe their defense was better than what we saw. It's just that they were on the field so much and that they couldn't do. I mean, it was historically bad, Vince, on offense. And we saw flashes from Aiden O'Connell as a competent quarterback, but he's not elite. And if you don't have an elite quarterback or a close to elite quarterback, you're not going to win a lot of games. And then as a young quarterback, when you don't have a running game, you're going to lose a lot of football games. And they had no options with the running game. It was awful. Going into this year, I'm not saying Geno Smith is an MVP candidate, but you know what? He's one tier below that. He's going to be much, much better than Gardner Minshew and Aiden O'Connell. You're going to have a guy that can run around the pocket a little bit. You're going to have a guy that is he's going to make some of the easy throws, and he's going to have some opportunities to go deep, and he's going to make his mistakes. I'm not saying Geno Smith is perfect. He's going to make his mistakes. On occasion, he makes these boneheaded mistakes, and I understand that. I'm baking that into my equation, but you're going to get a better running game just by having Ashton Jeanty, the first round pick on the roster. Your offensive line has improved. Colton Miller got better as the season went on. He was on the PUP list. So I expect him to lock it down at left tackle. Jackson Powers Johnson at the end of the year statistically came on as like one of the best centers in the league. He's healthy. So you got a lot of guys that are coming back on the offensive line that are healthy. So I think the offensive line is going to be better. The running game is going to be better. And then you also have you have Brock Bowers now. That is a weapon. Get the ball in his hands, have him do things. The big breakout star that I think is going to happen is Mykel Mayer. This guy was one of the highest recruited tight ends coming into college and even out of college into the pros. A lot of people thought he was a steal and showed a lot of potential as the tight end. So I think you're going to see a lot of double tight end stuff, and he's a really good blocker in the wide receiver position. You have Jacoby Myers, who's Mr. Consistent. He does a lot of the things that the 49ers do, blocking downfield, catching passes over the middle, like doing whatever he needs to do to help the team win. And then you add in a guy like Jack Beach, who does similar things, that he's going to do all the dirty work and do everything necessary to move the chains, move the ball. So I see a lot of positivity. I see a lot of competent football. And I think you got a team, you got leadership installed. You're not going to get nonsense out of Pete Carroll. You're not going to get, the Josh McDaniels buffoonery of play calling. You're not going to get, I was rooting for AP, but you could see some of the moments were just too much for AP. They had these guys that were supposed to be clock management experts, and they couldn't figure out clock management. So I think there's going to be a lot of these boneheaded mistakes are going to be gone. You're going to have interceptions. You're going to have fumbles. You're going to have things that happen. But I think as far as like intelligence, this team is going to be a lot better. You're going to have a team that's disciplined. Pete Carroll, even Chip Kelly. You look at Chip Kelly, you can't really compare this Chip Kelly to what was in Philadelphia or San Francisco. When he went to UCLA, he's running a pro offense. When he went to Ohio, he's running a pro offense. It's not this crazy high tempo thing he did in Oregon and in Philly and in San Francisco. Like, he has rebuilt his total offense. He's totally different now. He still has those wrinkles to his game. But I just expect the team to be explosive on offense, or more explosive, I'll say. So if you can get a top 15, top 12 offense, you're going to win some games. You're going to be sneaky good. I don't know where it falls in wins, but I think they're on the right track. And if you can stack maybe next year another quality draft class, you're right there. You're right in the thick of it. Because we see these franchises that get, I actually think last year actually had a pretty decent draft class, and now it looks like they got a really good one right now. So I actually feel like they can actually be pretty competitive this coming season, but it's next season that I think is what you're looking at. And hopefully you have the ability to make a trade or trade up and get a quarterback of the future. But we'll see. Right now I'm just really excited to be competitive and see what you can do. Not get run out of the building on a weekly basis. So I am feeling a little bit better, a little bit more positive, just because that running game is not going to be 32nd. I can hang my hat on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So right now, Las Vegas win totals have the Raiders at 5.5. That is an easy smash the over for me.
I gotta take the over on that.
I think the Raiders probably get to 7 is where I think I have the Raiders at right now. Is that feels like 5.5. Like that's doable. I think the Raiders are better than that, especially like you talked about, just having an offense being on the field more is going to make that defense better. Like that's
absolutely
that's the defense is better when they're not gassed at the end of a game. Like just naturally. There
were so many games.
That is step one. Step one. You can't get beat if you're not on the field.
Absolutely. There were so many games that the Raiders had that were like close until it got to like the late third quarter, early fourth quarter, and the defense was out there so often, and then the game just blew open. Yeah. You can't have that, and I do think the defense is going to be a little better. I do think the defense is the linebacker group and the defensive group, they did not create turnovers with AP. And that's something that Pete Carroll defenses do, is create turnovers. You look at historically what Pete Carroll defenses have done, college, pro, it doesn't matter. It's create fumbles, create turnovers, get interceptions, see ball, get ball. And I think you're going to see a return of, getting some turnovers for the Raiders. We have not seen that for many years, dude. Like, we have not seen ball hawk capabilities, and I don't know what it was.
A little bit of discipline too.
Every time I would see a tackle, like there's a Raider player making the tackle, but like, swipe the ball when you're going for a sack the quarterback, but get the ball too. Like,
yeah.
So I just didn't see that other than, Max Crosby doing that. You don't really see that from a Raiders defense. And that is changing. Like, you could, I'm watching all the damn social media videos of what they're doing in camp and how they're practicing and training. So I do expect them to be much better. Much better meaning, 7, 8, 9 wins. I don't know. We got to see what it looks like, coming out of spring training and injuries and things like that. And there's all kinds of stuff that's going to happen with the competition too. But, I feel much better. I was rooting for AP, but at this point last year, not bringing back Josh Jacobs, huge mistake. We saw that. To not even offer him a contract after what he gave this franchise, huge mistake to not bring back your all-pro running back. So they just made huge mistakes, and how they handled the Devontae Adams situation to burn that bridge, that was a huge mistake. So that was on previous GMs and coaches. So it is what it is. But I feel like with John Spytek and Pete Carroll, they're finally a program that will be taken seriously.
Yeah, moving forward. I see the AFC West kind of the same way I see the NFC North. You got 3 teams like at the top, right? That are like really good, right? I mean, the Broncos were in the playoffs last year. The Chargers were in the playoffs last year. The Chiefs run that division, right? And then in the NFC North, you had the Lions, the Vikings, the Packers. They were all like at the top, right? Kind of fighting. And then you had the Bears and then the Raiders, right? I see both of those teams, the Raiders and the Bears, ascending a bit.
Yep.
But you can only ascend so far when those other 3 teams ahead of you are right there. And I don't know, like maybe the Broncos fall down a little bit. I don't know. I think maybe you think Bo Nix is probably not quite like I don't know what you think about Bo Nix. I know some people think he's better. I think some people maybe think he's not. Like I don't know. I think he's maybe a little bit more for real than other people do. Obviously that's why they play the games. We'll see how that shakes out. But
I think Bo Nix specifically is. I think he's kind of like, this is what he is, and which is good. He's good.
It's all
he's going. I think he's going to be a solid player. I don't know if he's ever going to be like an MVP player or anything like that. I think with Denver, their defense is so damn good. They're going to be in every single football game. So if it comes down to like Denver having an opportunity to steal a game or get into field goal range, like that's how I look at them. The Chargers, I know they were in the playoffs last year, but I get everybody's hype around Justin Herbert and this and that, but I just can't get behind him, man. The Chargers
until
are going to Charger. I know
until they actually do something. Yeah. Chargers going to Charger, just like Cowboys going to Cowboy. I know, I get it, man.
So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, no. I think there's a lot of good teams, and it's going to be tough to punch your way through those teams, at least this season.
You're going to have to earn.